liberation war.
Okay, Master Sikri, I'll come to you in just a moment. Professor Nalapat, I want to get your perspective as well. If Mohammad Yunus then at this point in time is trying to buy some time, in your assessment, what could that be for?
Look, let's be honest, Devika. I agree with the ambassador. Mohammad Yunus has as much intention of resigning from his job as Donald Trump has. Both are enjoying the power that comes with it, and frankly, they're both enjoying the job. So I completely agree with Ambassador Sikri on that. Now, let's also talk real. Let's talk real. The Myanmar, unfortunately, large parts of the Myanmar-India border for quite some time have basically been the control of the PLA, of the Chinese military. And as far as Mohammad Yunus is concerned, the man has shamed the Nobel Prize by his open support for Islamist parties. What kind of an election does he want, Devika? He wants an election where the Awami League is completely excluded. I can understand the Awami League minus Sheikh Hasina and her family. Yes, I can understand that. Frankly, for the last 6 or 7 years, the Sheikh Hasina has been an embarrassment to India. And frankly, I don't believe the Bangladeshis will accept her or her family. And the most graceful thing for her would be to say, I and my son are not anymore interested in even, in basically rejoining Bangladesh politics. The best thing she can do for her country is the best thing she can do for India. Having said that, what kind of an election is this? No Awami League, only Islamist parties, and Islamist parties make very sure any party is not Islamist, their leaders are basically being picked up, they're being persecuted. The Hindus, as you know, the same thing is happening to them as happened during the Pak genocide in Bangladesh. And let's be honest, this means the Myanmar will be used by the Chinese to facilitate entry, and we have to be very careful about that. That the Chinese control, that's a very important stretch of the border, not the Myanmar junta. And secondly, Pakistan. What has Mohammad Yunus done? He said any Pakistani flight can land, any cargo can land in any airport in Bangladesh, no inspection. This is amazing. You're giving up sovereignty to Pakistan, the very country that oppressed you and from which you liberated yourself with a lot of help from India, of course, let's be honest. The Mukti Bahini was there, but it was not a very strong force. And you basically, now you've erased any mention of the founder of Bangladesh, Mujibur Rahman. You can't erase history, frankly. Sheikh Mujib was the founder. He was settled in India for a long time. We helped him, and our army brought him to power. But the reality is that this is a completely rigged election. And if you have an election, the extremist parties will come, and it will be another Syria. It's already like Syria now, but it will be more or less permanent, and that's the end of Bangladesh. Any extremist, government fully. Now, if Mohammad Yunus is a fig leaf, which frankly has worn thin, nobody believes him anymore. So, very frankly, you have a situation where Pakistan is a free hand. Now, of course, they'll have to overfly India, which, of course, their great friend China will allow them to overfly, I'm sure. And basically, transport all kinds of lethal stuff there. And you got China, and you got these two countries that are no friends of India joining hands, and the Awami League, which is friendly to India, banned. This is not a rigged election. I don't know what is the definition of a rigged election. So, as I said, I can understand, a condition that it will be the Awami League minus Sheikh Hasina and minus her son. Nobody wants, frankly, Mujib's family back, because I think they have, honestly, I'll tell you, they have disgraced Mujib by the corruption that has been indulged in, by the mother especially, and that's among the reasons why the street filled with people, and that was quickly taken over by the Islamists, a small Islamist fringe. and that fringe is trying to wipe out all moderate opposition. It's a very scary thing what's happening in Bangladesh, and I'm very certain our government is watching it very carefully. And if you have a rigged election like that, and the
Yes.
Islamists come to power, I think we'll need a very strong response from India to that, Devika.
Okay, I have a few more updates that I want to take forward with our guests. Viewers, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has now delivered a stern warning to Bangladesh to keep its eyes off the Siliguri corridor, which is also referred to as the chicken's neck. Sarma has stated that Bangladesh itself has two chicken necks that are far more vulnerable. He marked out the two chicken necks of Bangladesh, the first one being the 80-kilometer North Bangladesh corridor from Dakhin, the Dinajpur to southwest Garo Hills. The Assam CM noted that any disruption in the area can completely isolate the entire Rangpur division from the rest of Bangladesh. Another area marked by Sarma was a 28-kilometer long Chittagong corridor from South Tripura till the Bay of Bengal. The Assam Chief Minister warned that this corridor, though smaller than India's chicken's neck, is the only link between Bangladesh's economic capital and political capital. This comes after Bangladesh Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus made controversial remarks on India's Siliguri corridor after his visit to Beijing. Professor Nalapat, what do you make of this statement that has come out from Assam by the Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma himself, wherein he is in a way pointed out to Mohammad Yunus that it's important for him to keep his own country stable at this point in time?
He can't keep his own country stable, and it's no accident that he returned from Beijing with instructions. This Nobel Prize man has become, like the generals in Pakistan, a puppet of the Chinese. And the chicken's neck is very important to China. They've been viewing that, coveting that for quite some time. And I think all of us, if we look at a map, will know why it will be so valuable for China. And that's why Yunus boasted about chicken's neck. And again, the belief is India will not react beyond a point. India will stop. Unfortunately, this belief is deeply ingrained in Pakistan, and Yunus has only got that inoculation from a Pakistani injection. And so he's also possibly believing in this nonsense about Hindus being meek and mild. Of course, the fact is that in Bangladesh, they are being relentlessly butchered. Village after village, suburb after town, they are being relentlessly marked and executed. And and I'm sorry to say, the world is completely eyeing it blindly. They're not doing anything about it. And except for India, all these great pillars of democracy, the US, the UK, France, Germany, I mean, where are they when this genocide is going on? The second genocide. And that's why I'm saying, Devika, what really surprises me is the fact that under the US, at least President Trump, and frankly, I'm not sure how seriously to take his, his tweets and but it is obvious that this kind of a thing will be a threat to the United States as well. Is he going to repeat the folly of Nixon and allow, the Seventh Fleet to come? Of course, the Russian Sixth Fleet followed, and the Seventh Fleet had to go with its tail between its legs. It never expected the Russian Sixth Fleet to follow that. But the reality is, Devika, that look, chicken's neck is important for China, not for Bangladesh. And I think Himanta Biswa Sarma made it. I'm very glad he made his point. India will take the strongest possible steps. I hope we'll be sending emissaries to the US who can privately talk to US policymakers, including Vice President Vance, including, of course, the White House and, Donald Trump, etc., and point out how disastrous it will be if China retains control of Bangladesh. Because today, it has retained control of Bangladesh via its Pakistani proxy and directly. And the Western world is basically pretending to ignorance about the nature of the regime. Its own diplomats are reporting what kind of horrific incidents are taking place, which the governments, I'm ashamed to say, to call them governments would be a travesty, are just brushing under the carpet. How long can that be? And Devika, this is a very crucial security interest for India, and I do hope our emissaries can convince our friends in the United States especially, and our friends in Europe also, wherever possible, to get off their obsession with Ukraine and focus on this. Because
Yes.
this is a live threat to the West, just as a live threat to India. And I think it has to be confronted. And believe me, Prime Minister Modi and his government have the determination and the will to confront it, Devi.
Okay, on that note, speaking of the United States of America, a day after Hindu houses were attacked,